Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's Friday.
This is
Sunday.
the giveaway edition.
Absolutely. So, as you guys can see, things are different this week. We are actually on Zoom call this week, and we are late, as I'm sure most of you could
Yeah.
tell. For the people that live around this area, know very well why we're late. Weather got ridiculously bad. There's snow everywhere. People can't drive. There's wrecks. So please be careful if you're driving around our area. Just be cautious. We're under a level one. Just a quick update on that. But we are finally live, and it's giveaway week. We're super excited. We hope you guys are as well. We have a different slate for you guys this week. Things have changed. Sports are starting to get into a different zone of things. So quick layout on how tonight's going to go. We're going to do a quick parlay build like we normally do, but no basketball, no football. UFC is our option.
It's kind of stale because it is All Star Weekend here in Indy.
Absolutely. And then after the parlay, we're going to go into a quick Super Bowl recap and 1v1 fantasy recap for our fans that know that we did that every single week. And then it's giveaway time. So we're not going to get right into the giveaway. We're going to give things a little bit, give people a few more minutes to get entered and things of that nature. But it is coming within the next probably 20 minutes or so. So please stay tuned for that if you're excited for that. So I guess we can get right into some UFC talk, man. It's a big night tomorrow night. UFC 298 here. Volkanovski.
Exactly. And for the people that don't know, we got to give them a little rundown that you're the UFC guru.
Man, I see. I didn't want to toot my own horn, but I do tend to do pretty well when it comes to the UFC cards.
If we didn't have an emergency atmosphere this week, we'd have probably a little slideshow pull up. I'd say of all your UFC entries.
All I'm saying is I hit on sports betting more on UFC than any other sport. So if you guys are UFC fans or if you're sports betting fans, please stay tuned for this one real quick. We're not going to take too long. I'll probably just do a main card. I might do a regular money line main card, and I might do some methods of victories because I got a few of those I like. But I guess we can kick it off with the first fight of the main card. Feel free to butt in yourself, John, if you have any comments on
I
these
was
UFC
just
fights.
going to say real quick, a quick reminder to everybody to obviously bet responsibly.
Absolutely. We always responsible gambling. Absolutely. Only bet what you can afford. But first fight on the card is Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. We're not going to do a big talk about this when it kicks off the main card, but four other fights that are very exciting follow this one. We're going to kick this one off with the favorite, Anthony Hernandez. I think this could even be a KO victory within the first 2 rounds for him. Roman's nice, but Anthony's a big dude. He packs a lot of power. Next up on the card is the return of Merab Dvalishvili against Triple Crown winner Henry Cejudo, Olympic champion. I think this could be a very close fight. It's going to be fun to watch. I think this could possibly go the distance with only being a 3-round fight. Both of these guys are former title contenders. Kind of know what they're doing in there. But I think I'm going to take Merab on this one. And I think you could even take him for method of victory by points. Like I said, I think this one goes the distance, but I think Merab, the younger one,
Judo's still got some juice in him, but
yeah,
maybe I would have to get it. You know what I mean?
We knew what he was, but he's not what he used to be. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly.
Geoff Neal versus rising star Ian Machado Gary. I'm actually a huge fan of this kid. I think Ian Gary is going to be the next great in that division. He's a lot of fun to watch, and it's a tough matchup against Geoff Neal. We've seen him take down former rising contenders. But I think Ian Gary walks out of this one with a knockout win. I think this could even be a first round knockout. I think Ian has a point to prove. He really needs to. And I think there's no better point to prove than against Geoff Neal of all people.
So beautiful. I love Ian Gary.
He's nice. He's fun to watch. He hits hard, dude. He's nice.
Now this next one, I'm excited to hear your take on.
Yeah, I'm excited on this one. It's Robert Whitaker. Right, Robert Whitaker versus Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa is a guy that I'm not a huge fan of. I would have loved to see that fight against Hamzat Chimaev. I think that would have been a great fight. But obviously, pulled out due to injury on that one. Going up against Robert Whitaker is a tough test. I love Hamzat. I think he's one of the best middleweight fighters there is. But Robert Whitaker is a different breed. What he used to be was UFC champion. I mean, this dude's
Exactly.
fantastic. And I think
So a rising star that's touted to be a big dog or someone that's a proven big dog.
now listen, I could see. I don't know. Let's just put it this way. I think Paulo Costa has a fighter's chance or a puncher's chance. Let's put it that way. Well, I think Robert Whitaker is the better fighter on paper. I think he's the better fighter in the octagon. Obviously, he's a little bit past his prime. He's going in age right now. But Whitaker needs a bounce back fight. And people love Costa. Obviously, he's fought for a middleweight championship before in the match against Israel Adesanya. Obviously, lost. But I think Whitaker comes out of this one with a knockout, if we're going to be honest. I think some people could see this fight going the distance. I know it's only a 3 round fight, but both of these guys have a point to prove, and they're both boxers. This could very well be a knockout within the first 2 rounds. If I had to put my money on somebody, it's going to be Robert Whitaker.
I like that. Because Paulo Costa, I mean, we all were high on him, but he's taken a loss already. I mean, he's shown that he's not all that in a bag of chips. He's still got stuff to learn, stuff to prove. And Whitaker is a tall test.
Absolutely. Whitaker is one of the best in the middleweight division till the day he retires.
Yeah.
Everybody in that division can tell you that. Now, the main card on this fight. This is what I'm most excited about. This fight is going to be an absolute banger. Alexander Volkanovski and Ilya Topuria. Both of them have a lot to prove in this fight. Volkanovski, obviously, one of the best featherweights of all time, if not the best featherweight of all time. We know what this guy is. He's obviously the reigning champion for a reason. But just as well as Volk is putting his championship on the line, Ilya Taporia is putting that 0 on the line, and that means a lot to these fighters. He's 14-0. He's never lost in professional MMA. And if we're gonna be honest, dude, this guy shows me a lot of what Conor McGregor was at this point in his career. I mean, you see the similarities within everything. Obviously, the belt snapped on Volk at the press conference, the tattoo on his back, the tattoo on his chest. I mean, just the way he talks and, handles himself.
Did you have the first upset? You have a bunch of favorites on this slate.
Now, listen, I've thought about this for a while. I've gone back and forth on this fight multiple times. I think Ilya Taporia is going to be the toughest test that Volk has had in a while in the featherweight division, obviously outside of Islam Makhachev. But I think Taporia is the real deal, dude, and he can fight. And I think if anybody's going to beat Volk, it can be Taporia. Uh, I hate betting against Volk. If I'm going to put my money on somebody, man, I think I'm going to take Ilya. I think this man's going to be 15-0. He's portraying this confidence for a reason. I mean, he's already planning a documentary for becoming a UFC champion. No one has protruded this much confidence in a long time. And I think it pays off.
You got to have something to back it up.
You do, man. And the way he's I don't know, the way he's handled himself and carried himself. But don't get me wrong. I think Volk still, obviously, is Volk. He can very well come out here and shut this kid up, But if I'm putting my money on somebody in this fight, I'm going Ilya. And it's just for the sheer fact that I want to see him win it, and I think it's going to be a good fight. So that rounds out the money line parlay. Ilya Taporia. And even for a method of victory on this one, if you want to go Volk, I'm not going to, hate you. But either way, I think this is going to be a knockout fight.
It's the main card for a reason.
Yeah, this is 5 rounds. Obviously, we've seen Volk go the distance multiple times, but Ilya Taporia has gotten in the octagon and he's gotten out quick in most of these knockout wins that he's had. So I think they're going to lay it all out on the line in the first couple rounds and somebody's going to sleep. That's my prediction.
So, quick recap: Anthony Hernandez,
Rob Dewashawili, Ian
Gary,
Robert Whitaker, and Ilya Taporia, man. I hate betting against Volk, but that brings you out to a nice 5-leg plus 686 parlay. Nothing too crazy, but a nice little.
FanDuel does have a little 25% boost out for the UFC fights tonight.
They say yes. If you do, it's tomorrow night actually. But if you do throw this boost on,
sorry,
it brings it to plus 858. So a nice little boost on it. But always bet responsibly. Bet what you can afford. Don't go out there and put your rent on it because nobody's perfect.
Exactly.
But with that out of the way, that brings it into a point of things where you will have a little bit more to say. It's Super Bowl recap, man. NFL, has come to a close. As sad as it is to say, what a season it was.
Yeah, I mean, almost a documentary worth of a season. It's sad, but I mean, again, like we said last week, I mean, it's not all sad because it's also the part we can do our favorite parts of the mocks and be our GMs and scouts for the off
Right.
season. MLB comes back around, so we'll get in our slew of things again.
I said this last week. I really think the off season can be a better time in the NFL for us than the regular season, if I'm going to be honest.
Exactly. We could put out mocks, rankings. I mean, there's a lot that can be said in the off season.
Right. But before we move on to our off season stuff, let's talk about this Super Bowl for a minute, man. We haven't discussed this with anybody on here yet. We haven't been live since it's happened.
Exactly. I mean, the Swifties got their story.
Patrick Mahomes, bro. What can you say? I mean, I seen something on Instagram the other day, and it said, "Who do you think is closer to the GOAT? Is it LeBron to Michael, or is it Mahomes to Brady?"
I saw that same post.
I don't know, man. I think Mahomes by the case.
I was about to say the same thing. I hate to. I mean, I literally, after so long of hating Tom Brady, because it's a dynasty. Obviously, you give the man his flowers when he retires. You look back at what he did. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. But now, so young, Patrick Mahomes has done what he's done, and they're looking like a dynasty with no good receivers besides obviously Travis Kelce, and now just Rashee Rice. Nobody else could catch the ball all season. This wasn't just a 1 week clip. I mean, and then their defense. I mean, they got obviously better, but there's pieces they were missing. I mean, they are not a complete dynasty, but they are simply because Patrick Mahomes is on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, he's become the best player, the face of the NFL, and in good right. I mean, this man has done things that we haven't seen anybody do ever. I mean, just the amount of he has 3 championships and what 4 Super Bowl appearances. I mean, he lost the Super Bowl. He was 1 game away another year from the Super Bowl. I mean, they're always making it to a conference championship and advancing to a Super Bowl. I mean, he's put this team in a whole nother dimension of rankings. I would hate to go out here next year and say the Chiefs are done, but 3P is very well in sight for these guys. I mean, they'll tell you themselves.
That's scary to say.
Isn't done. Yeah, and it's what they could do this offseason to improve this team is terrifying. I mean, you go out and get Patrick Mahomes a real #1 receiver, and what does that offense turn into? That's the one thing he's missing. I mean,
exactly. You go get an all-pro cornerback, another outside linebacker. I mean, you already have Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Spagnolia has the Chiefs defense as a top 5 defense in the NFL.
Yes.
With who on paper? I mean, they have some decent names. Chris Jones, obviously interior D lineman. Trent McDuffie and Snead were one of the best cornerback duos in all of football.
I mean, the new linebacker from the Chargers. Why am I blanking his name? Yes, Tranquil.
Yeah, who was amazing.
Came out in the parade and said this is much better than LA, by the way.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure it is. LA. Let's not even talk about that. But real quick, before we do continue, the Super Bowl recap with you mentioning the parade, I do want to give a huge my condolences out to the families that were injured during the Chiefs parade. I'm not going to go into crazy details, but there were some travesties at the parade, unfortunately. It's hard to talk about, but
it's devastating to say that you can't even celebrate something like that. But like you said, just a quick shout out, prayer to all the families that were involved, anybody that was impacted. I mean, even hearing the noise is one thing. So, I mean,
it's going to be a PTSD moment for those guys for the rest of their lives.
From something that should have been a core memory for a great reason.
Absolutely. What the NFL does in the future with these Super Bowl parades is obviously in question now, but let's just hope that something like this never happens again. Let's put it that way.
That's what's scary. I mean, all these towns do. I mean, that's what they do. You win a trophy, you go celebrate in the town. That's what it's all about, bringing it to the fans. But, I mean, when the fans can't even celebrate peacefully, then what do you do? I mean, if we lose one of the best parts, one of the best traditions in sports,
Yeah, something they've done since the very beginning, very well be ruined by a couple people who is wow. I don't even know what to say. But back to Super Bowl talk, man. Let's get off that subject. Now, with all this talk we've given to the Chiefs and all the praise we've given to Mahomes, real quick, man, I want to give Brock Purdy his flowers.
yes.
This loss was nowhere near on that kid whatsoever. Um, Brock Purdy was. I know there's been hate about this dude all year and how he's just a game manager, but I mean, when you look at the way he has this offense rolling, even with all the talent they have, it takes a leader. Brock Purdy has been that guy. I mean, this talent
Yeah.
would be wasteful if you didn't have a quarterback that can understand things and get the ball to these guys to make plays. Yes, CMC was the best player in football and the best player on that team. But when it came to the passing game, man, Brock Purdy did things that, 30 other starting quarterbacks in the league couldn't do. I mean, he was top three, number one in MVP race for a few weeks. Like, he needs his flowers, man. And this
But
game
like
was
you
very
said, the Chiefs defense was up to top five, the top five defense.
yeah.
So I mean, say what you want about Brock Purdy, but he went out there and did things that nobody else could do. George Kittle wasn't a main factor. Debo got hurt for a few plays. He did this all not being a game manager, but being a game changer.
Exactly. I mean, that's perfectly put. This game obviously was very well in San Francisco's hands for a long time, and until that muffed punt, I think San Francisco had all the momentum in the world. The
Yeah,
Chiefs'
until
offense looked
essentially the
very good.
last 10 seconds of overtime.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the first quarter and a half of that football game, the 49ers were dominating it in every aspect of the football. I mean, the Chiefs' offense couldn't move. No, the 49ers weren't putting up 50 points, but I mean, the offense was doing something. I mean, there was a little bit of movement within that, but that defense was playing top tier. And until the 49ers muffed that punt and the Chiefs got it at the 15-yard line, I mean, it looked like San Francisco was on their way to a bowl.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, the Chiefs were going on a bunch of 3-and-outs.
Yeah. Man, Patrick Mahomes threw a pick. I mean, there was fumbles. That game it was very sloppy. Is the way to put it. But congratulations to the Chiefs, man. You can't hate against them, obviously. Look out for them next year if Andy Reid can get that offense any better than what it already was.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is only now 4 away from the GOAT.
Yeah, and man, he's got plenty of time. Dude's only 28. And
Exactly. That's the scary side. Tom Brady did a bunch of this at 33, 35. Patrick Mahomes
exactly.
essentially halfway there
He won
at
a Super
28.
Bowl at what, 41 years old? Or how old was he with the Bucks? I mean,
I think he was 40 or 39. As
yeah,
it may have been before his birthday when they got the ball. I don't know, but I think he may have been 40 that season. So
yeah,
either
he
way,
had,
exactly.
yeah,
All of this, a lot of this he did in his last few seasons. Mahomes is
exactly.
essentially halfway there at 28.
If Mahomes stays on pace, I think he could very well go win 10 Super Bowls, bro. If he stays on the pace that he's on now, winning 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, he's very well on his way to 10 championships. And that's would be the greatest feat in football history,
Or
obviously.
at least a 7-ring tie with already more MVPs, Pro Bowls,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah, already what, a 2-time MVP, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. I mean, this kid's accolades, sorry, not kid, but this dude's accolades already are insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but with football ending means fantasy football has come to a close.
Yes.
For all of our normal fans and everybody, we had one last week of fantasy
I was
football.
about to say, they know that we had one pending week of results.
Yes. Now, for everyone still being tuned in, this will be the last segment before the giveaway. So if you've not entered or anything yet, please go do that. So now, and right after we're done with this quick fantasy football recap, we will be getting into the giveaway for you guys. So please stay tuned.
Yes. I will spin around, literally and metaphorically, and spin the wheel, and we'll announce the winner.
Absolutely. But real quick, Let's go over this fantasy football matchup. Now, it was a Super Bowl matchup. Things got a little dicey. We had to get in our bag a little bit, pull out some names. It was
Exactly.
fun.
Two offenses to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely.
What,
So
7 picks out of 11 players on field?
yeah, 14 out of the 22 players that played football.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, start off with John's team as we normally do. We'll go down the list and I'll give you point totals so you guys have a refresh of his team along with their points. At quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. 25.92 points. Not a bad game.
Sure.
CMC, your number one pick. Running back, 30 points. That boy had him a day. I think he had almost 200 yards from scrimmage, touchdown. I mean, he knows
The
things.
should be MVP. Let's not get on our hour-long rant that we could.
Yeah.
But should, had a point to prove in the bowl.
Was the best player in football. Clyde Edwards-Helaire at RB2, who unfortunately got you a big whopping 0.
Yeah, because McKinnon was reactivated.
0 yards. Yeah.
Yeah.
1 carry for 0 yards. Yeah. So he didn't do much of anything.
Yeah. Not exciting.
Wide receiver 1, Rashee Rice. A decent game. He had 10.3. Wasn't nothing crazy. Wide receiver 2, a guy that actually went to Instagram to put out his frustrations on this game.
Yes.
Brandon Ayuk, who scored a whopping 7.9.
And one of his family members, I don't remember if it was brother or cousin, but family member came out and said, "How does your all-pro receiver have 6 receptions in the Super Bowl?"
He also put on Instagram. He said, "Don't forget what got you there." So he was obviously shots to the 49ers offense.
Yeah.
Tight end 1, another 49ers guy who had a disappointing game, George Kittle. 2.4.
Went to the half with 1 yard.
Yeah, not very exciting. Ended the game with 2 catches for 4 yards. So, and Superflex, the guy who, I guess, the worst, Dustin Watson, 8.4 points for a total of 84.92 for old Johnny Boy. Not a bad full game total for, what we had to work with. Now for my team, QB1, Brock Purdy, 15.4. Not quite Mahomes, but not the worst game. RB1, Isaiah Pacheco, a decent game, 15.2. RB2, pulled this man out my bag, didn't have the game I expected, it wasn't terrible. I'll use check with a whopping 5.3. Wide receiver 1, Deebo Samuel, 7.1. Wide receiver 2 had Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who actually got in the end zone for me. Had a total of 11 points.
Surprisingly, but finally did his thing.
Yeah. Tight end 1, Travis Kelce, who didn't have the greatest first half, but had a better second half. 18.3 points. Didn't do terrible. No touchdowns, but a lot of catches, a lot of yards. And Superflex. My, I think this was my best pick and the one I was most excited about. I had the man Jawan Jennings in my Superflex.
Yeah, who came in and did his thing and threw for a touchdown.
And he caught one. 2 tutties for Jawan Jennings. But still only had 19.04 points. Still a good game, though, for a wide receiver 3. Which, without Jawan Jennings, let's just say the outcome would have been different. I had a total 91.34 points.
Hey.
Beat you by 6. So without Jawan Jennings, I would have took an L. Let's just say
that, and I had Clyde at Helaire, but I mean, we were in our bag. It was Super Bowl week, so I'll give you your bit flowers this week. No trash talk because that was difficult.
That very was difficult. My Jawan Jennings pick saved me.
Otherwise, yes, that was a clutch pick. A very clutch pick.
He was my very last pick. Oh yeah, little Mr. Irrelevant action. Kind of like somebody who almost won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, weird.
But all right.
Unfortunately, we're saying almost, but
yeah, it is what it is. We all knew Patrick Mahomes wasn't losing. All right, y'all know what time it is. So, give giveaway time, baby.
Let me bring her over here.
So for everybody that entered the giveaway or has been watching, waiting for this, it is now your time to shine. Make sure we show them the wheel so they know everything's done in a fair way. Get everybody's name that entered through the post or through the email that you have in his possession.
Yes.
So here live on the camera. You guys will see the winner right when we see the winner. So everything you see right now is live. And it's all random. Best of luck to everyone that entered. Obviously, this is the first of many giveaways. So if you guys love giveaways, love free things, make sure you like, follow the page. Stay tuned. Here we go.
Without further ado, the winner for the two Pacers versus Pistons tickets for February 22nd, Jeff Greenlee.
Jeff Greenlee. Shout out Jeff, man. Congratulations. So we will be in contact with the winner. Obviously, when you guys signed up, you left your phone number with us along with your name. So Jeff, if you're watching, congratulations. We'll be in touch with you here soon to get you your tickets. But
yes, I believe Jeff was one of the first people to come through. Yeah, one of the first few people we had sign up through the email, did everything by the book, and look what it got him.
Shout out Jeff Greenlee, man. Congratulations. We hope you enjoy the game. We'll be in touch with you right after the show to get you your tickets. And for everyone that didn't win, apologies. Better luck next time. This won't be the last one.
Yeah, Jeff, hopefully you're watching and you're excited. If not, we'll contact you after the show and you'll find out that way. But regardless, maybe you got a friend in here that can tell you.
Absolutely. But the giveaway being over with. We have a few more things planned for you guys tonight. Unfortunately, there will be no NBA Deal or No Deal due to NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll give you guys the recap of who won last week and everything, but we won't be able to play a game this week. There will be no more NBA games until next Thursday, so that will be back next week.
Yes.
So for the meantime, we have something that we've kind of been talking about the last few weeks with NFL coming to an end. It's off-season time. We're going to give you guys the first look at our very early 2024 NFL mock draft. Obviously, the order
yes, the first edition, rushed emergency weather edition, but the first edition of the Travis and John mock. We're going to do the first 16 picks, the first half of the draft. Absolutely. For our first mock.
So you guys will see the local Colts pick. I believe you will see the Bengals pick. So for any local fans watching, let me pull up this paper here real quick. I do want to give a quick mention. This draft will be the first of many, obviously, throughout this offseason, but this one will be with no trades. We're going to base this strictly off the order that is set in place right now. Obviously, we're sure that there will be trades on draft night, and we'll have some mock drafts with some predicted trades and things like that. But for now, we're just going to stick to the clear-cut order and give you guys our top 16.
Yes, we will have probably in the coming weeks when we're together, better weather, etc., more immersive ways for you guys to watch where we'll have the draft board, etc. But this is the first edition. Emergency weather, we're late for a reason, so we appreciate you for sticking by us. We got what we can this week.
Absolutely. This was a very rough draft week for us. So back to normal things next week. Bear with us. Okay, instead of bouncing off each other like we normally do in our mock drafts and things, I think we're just going to talk about this one together, go through each pick and kind of do this as a squad, as a team, but we haven't done it in a while.
Yeah, we may divvy up our mocks and have a couple that are together and a couple that we bounce back and forth / compete with, etc. But for the first one, we are just going to use our minds to try and come together and agree on the best fit for each team.
Okay, so let's talk, man. Number one pick. There's not it. Carolina's pick via the Bryce Young trade up last year. Chicago's on the clock, man. Now, if we're going to base this off right now, no Justin Fields trade, no trade down, nothing of that nature. I know who I have going at number one here. I don't know if it's the same guy you have going. It's not the same as many people. But if you want my clear cut opinion, without a trade, no Justin Fields movement, I think the Bears go Marvin Harrison Jr. with the number one pick.
I'd be very happy with that because I've had Marvin Harrison Jr. as my number one sleeper pick on FanDuel for a long time. But I agree with that. I don't think they're as willing to move on from Justin Fields as a lot of the media may suspect. But with this being our first edition and no trade, if this is the pick and it's the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields is still on roster, you have to go Marvin Harrison.
You have to. He's the best wide receiver we've seen coming out of the draft class, possibly ever. I mean, he might have the most prolific college career of a wide receiver. He fits every single aspect of being a top guy in the league. I mean, he had all the tools. This is a once in a lifetime generational talent.
I'd say the most realistic option is they trade back slightly, obviously. Maybe move Fields, but if they don't, they trade back, keep Fields, get an O lineman, maybe pick up Neighbors later in the draft or whatever, some other wide receiver threat. But
that'll be a talk
right now. Exactly. We have the Bears at the number one pick.
Marvin Harrison. Do we in agreement on that?
Yes, 100%.
Good, beautiful. Okay, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the number one pick. That brings us to 2. Now, Washington's on the clock, man. Now, I want to talk about this for a second. If this is still the pick and no one trades up to take the number one pick here with the Bears and slide the man out of USC, I think there's no better fit for Caleb Williams than the Washington Commanders. I think this would be perfect, ideal scenario for everyone involved. Let's talk for a second here. Washington just hired the former coach, Caleb Williams at USC, Cliff Kingsbury, as an offense coordinator. Now, this is a match made in heaven, man. He doesn't want to go to Chicago. He voiced that very, very loudly. And Washington is a team that is in desperate need of a franchise quarterback, something they haven't had.
Exactly. Unlike Chicago, their top need isn't necessarily a quarterback.
Right.
Or their top need is a quarterback. Chicago's top need isn't necessarily a quarterback, but the Commanders' top need is a quarterback.
Right. Now, the Madden fan in me done a rebuild where I drafted Caleb Williams to the Washington Commanders. And let's think, USC, Washington have the exact same colorway. Their jerseys are almost identical in color, almost identical in appearance. There's just absolutely no better storybook fitting for Caleb Williams than the Washington Commanders.
He comes in with an all-pro receiver and Terry McLaurin, where he doesn't start with necessarily nobody.
Exactly. This is the perfect fit for him. He's with a familiar face. Cliff Kingsbury knows this guy. He's very well more fit as an offensive coordinator than he is a head coach, obviously, as we've seen in Arizona. I think he's got a good offensive game plan. And Caleb, be the guy, man. I think it's the perfect fit. We in agreement?
Yeah. I'm with you. Caleb Williams, +2.
New England Patriots are on the clock. Now, I think there's 2 guys that I can debate here.
This is a big debate of the whole draft. But, again, the Patriots' top need is a quarterback.
Let's get things started off right. Their biggest need is a QB. They will be going QB with a number 3 pick. Obviously, just let go of Bill Belichick. There was a mutual separation. And Rod Mayo's in, man, the young buck, the former player. And he needs a quarterback. Mac Jones is not the answer. Bailey Zapp is not the answer. And with how deep this quarterback class is, you have to take a QB at 3. I think there's 2 guys that you could argue here. Obviously, a guy that's jumped off a lot of draft boards lately, the Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels, can be in question here from LSU. He's skyrocketed in drafts here lately. He has. And then another guy, a guy I really like, and I think he fits New England a little better than Jaden, the guy out of UNC, Drake May. If I had to choose between the 2, I think New England would prefer Drake May over Jaden Daniels just due to the fact of New England's history. You know the type of quarterbacks they like. They don't want the flashy Lamar Jackson type. They want someone that's going to stand.
Gerard Mayo could want that.
So he very well could. No, you're absolutely right. We have yet to see anything or hear anything from Gerard Mayo. But if I had to put my money on somebody here, I think I would go Drake May. I think he's the better prospect. I think he's the better quarterback. I think he's
the more
popular
NFL ready
quarterback. 100%. So you got Drake
May. Drake May to the Patriots.
All right. Beautiful. All right. Pick number 4 brings us to Arizona. Now, we've heard from Jonathan Gannon that he's sticking with Kyler Murray. I think quarterback's out of the question here. The Cardinals need a lot. Their team fell apart. I mean, there's a lot of wide open holes on that team. You really draft best player available here. They could use anything. But I think if you want to keep Kyler Murray healthy and Jonathan Gannon, who obviously is an offensive minded type of guy, I could see Arizona going offensive tackle here or offensive line, at least of that nature. I think there's a few top guys that really pique some interest here for protecting Kyler Murray. How do you feel?
I don't completely disagree because I'd say, essentially their number 2 need right now. I could see, like you said, the offensive-minded Gannon go in a Neighbors type direction, pick up Malik Neighbors. I mean, it's kind of early for that, but when you come to best available at that need, he's who's left. So, but I don't hate the O-line pick either because we've seen Kyler Murray is not good under pressure.
At all. He's a guy that was great coming in his rookie season. I think he did well, but with the injury and just the way things looked last year in that new offense, he didn't get around too well. Let's just put it that way. So, what do you think here? If I had to put my money on a pick here, I think I would go the guy out of Penn State. I don't know how to say his first name. I'm going to butcher it, but the offensive tackle Fashanu. I think he's the number 1 offensive lineman in the draft. He's a big guy, very strong, and someone you could put on the edge opposite of Paris Johnson Jr., who they drafted last year, and just have your tackles set for the future.
Is that or Joe Alt? He's an inch higher, bit bigger body from Notre Dame.
Yeah,
either way.
Sure.
But Joe Alt is, I feel like, more locked into a tackle position than Fashanu may be, and they may be looking to move someone inside.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. We seen him draft Paris Johnson Jr. last year. Did they double up with another offensive lineman in the top 5?
Exactly.
What do you think?
I don't hate the Fashanu pick.
We'll go Fashanu here. Go Fashanu.
Sounds like a Cardinals pick, if you ask me.
Facts. So, all right, that brings us to 5 with a team that not a lot of people expected to be here this early. Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, a team that, again, like you said, was not expected to be here this early. A team that was extremely disappointing this season, with a lot to fix and prove. So, I think a major need is again protecting your franchise quarterback.
Exactly. I think that's their biggest need. Obviously, they have a guy like Rashawn Slater, who's locked in as a franchise tackle at that position, had a great year last year. But opposite of him, there's just not much. And with a guy like Justin Herbert under center, a franchise type of guy, a guy that can be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, you have to make sure he's good. And you just can't ignore protecting him. I know it's boring, going another offensive lineman here with all these skill players still on the board. But if you're thinking, biggest team need and something for these guys, I think offensive line is the smartest move.
So Joe Alt out of Notre Dame?
Yep, that would be my next guy up.
Perfect. Best fit.
You have to make sure Herbert's good, man. Pick number 6, New York Giants. Now this is a team
with Saquon Barkley pending free agency.
Exactly. And now I think this is where you kind of bounce back to more skill players here. There's a guy I like here a lot for New York. The guy that you mentioned earlier, but they need a playmaker, man. You seen it at the receiver spot last year. Jalen Hyatt was not what they thought he was going to be. And outside of Wandale Robinson, they don't have a playmaker that can catch the ball, bro. And
Exactly.
with Marvin Harrison Jr. being off the board, I think there's two guys here you could argue, but I think there's one guy that kind of tops it a little bit more. I would love a Malik Neighbors pick here for the Giants, dude. I think he's the perfect
100%. He's
fit.
a great big body receiver. They don't have a true number one. He's probably got the best downfield control in the draft, so
And
this
if
could
we're
be huge.
talking statistically, he had a better season last year than Marvin Harrison Jr. on paper. That's all I'm saying. I think he could be a
Exactly. It's all
guy.
about name.
I think he could be like a Zay Flowers type of thing, dude. I think he could come in very like underwell. All right, let's put it this way: people are not expecting a lot, but getting more than what you think in a way. I think he
Yeah.
could be amazing. And like you said, if Saquon decides he wants to go elsewhere, they're going to need a playmaker. All right, brings us to 7 with the Tennessee Titans. This is an interesting team. Um, I think there's a few different ways the Titans could go here. But let's just break this down for a second. This is a team that could need a few things.
A
We don't
lot.
know what, yeah, we don't know what's going on with Derrick Henry. From where he's made it seem, he could be moving on next year, which obviously brings Tajay Spears next guy up, the running back position. But quarterback, bro, what do they do? I mean, you have guys like Tannehill on roster, you have Will Levis, but these two guys played last year and they just weren't anything to be excited about. I mean,
I
tell me
don't
what's
know.
up
They
with that
seem to
one.
have a lot of faith in Will Levis.
Do they rock with Will Levis again next year? If that's the case, do you where do you go here? I mean, you go defense. There's know good defensive players on the board. They could probably use a corner, maybe an edge rusher. And there's also another good offensive tackle that could be a top 10 pick.
I was going to say, I could see them maybe going for a tackle. That's going to be a big need if you keep Levis for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised to see who was I just thinking of. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a Brock Bowers pick this early either.
Right. No, I agree. Brock Bowers is he's a very talented kind of guy. Um, I like I like the fit of Brock, but if we're thinking offensive lineman, I love the fit of the guy out of Oregon State, Tyrese Buaga. He's another guy that's kind of skyrocketed boards here lately. Outside of with Fashanu and Joe all being gone, I think he's the next guy up. It's a lot of tackles taken in the top 10, but you've seen nowadays, man, you got to protect your franchise guy. What do you like more here? You like a Brock Bowers pick or you like a Fuega pick?
I feel like if they don't go quarterback and they rock with Will Levis, they have to go an offensive tackle.
Right, so Fuega.
Give him any more time in the pocket that he can have.
Holly East Fuega, who was actually really good for Oregon State last year. All right, that brings us to number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, if we're going to be real here, Falcons obviously have a new head coach in Raheem Morris. And if you think about what Raheem Morris does, he's a defensive type of guy. And
Yes.
I think there's one big name that stands out on the defensive side of the ball that I've actually seen rumored to the Falcons a lot here lately. I think he's a perfect fit. That defense really needs somebody to come in and do something. I really love edge rusher Dallas Turner out of Alabama here to Atlanta.
100%. That's
I think
100%
he's
who I was going to say. He's probably the best edge rusher in the class. And I
for
mean,
sure.
like you said, Morris loves his defense. And who better to add to that defense than one, probably the best edge in the draft?
Exactly. I think he's a perfect fit. They need somebody that can really come in and make an impact on that defense. If Raheem Morris can get that team rolling, they got some pieces that could really turn into something. All right. Brings us back to 9, which is the Chicago Bears once again. Now, this is their best
Exactly.
pick. Now, we've seen in this mock draft, they took Marvin Harrison Jr. with the number 1 pick, which pairs him up with DJ Moore in full commit. I think really solidifies that wide receiver pass catching core. I don't think you need to go wide receiver here. Obviously, if you keep quarterback, you're going to keep Justin Fields. If you're not going to draft Caleb Williams, um, there's a few different things I could see here for the Bears. Obviously, they drafted offensive line last year. Darnell Wright is a really good tackle for them. Do you go back to offensive line to try to protect Justin Fields, or do you try to bulk up the defense? Because obviously, they released the veteran guy Eddie Jackson, who played on top for him last year. I
I
think
don't
there's
know.
still some.
This is a really hard pick for me because, like I said, the most realistic result is trade down, get more picks, fill more needs with later on picks. But in this
Right.
mock, this is what we have. So I don't know. One of their biggest needs is still O line.
You're
But after
absolutely right.
that, you go wide receiver, and if you fill up that hole with Marvin Harrison and DJ Moore, that's out of the way. Then it's defense.
Right. And obviously, they brought in. I could. I know it's crazy to say here, and you would probably want to go offensive line more times than not with this big. But I think there's a few edge rushers on in the class outside of Dallas Turner that could really be impactful players. And I think the Bears could benefit a lot from an edge rusher. Obviously, we've seen Montez Sweat come in and play 7 weeks of football last year and lead the team in sacks. I mean, before Montez, they were a team that rarely ever got to the quarterback, if at all. And
In
they
the first
the
half of
pressure.
last season, they were one of, if not the worst pass rush in the NFC.
Yeah, their leading sack guy was 3 sacks before Montez Sweat, and he came in and dominated. And just if you want to be smart with this pick, I can very well see an edge rusher here. You just they gotta do something on the defensive side of the ball if they want to contend in that division. I mean, we've seen what the Packers can do. They have a tough task at hand next year.
Exactly.
And what better way to stop Jordan Love than get pressure? I think there's two guys that I can very well argue here. That would be great fits at the edge. My number one guy, who I think is right up there with Dallas Turner, guy out of Florida State, Jared Verse, who at the beginning of the season was a lot higher on a lot of these boards. I think was technically above Dallas Turner in a lot of early mock drafts. He didn't have the greatest collegiate year this year, but we seen what he did last year, man. He's a junior this year. His sophomore season was fantastic. He's a guy that fits the whole build for a pass rusher. And outside of on the other side of Montez Sweat, I think he could be beautiful over there.
I could see maybe a Byron Murphy because their line itself is just so horrendous. Or maybe if you go edge a Latu out of UCLA, I'm not going to even try and butcher his first name, but an edge out of UCLA that I think now is the potential 2 ranked edge rusher in the class.
I don't know, man. I think Jared Verse has the potential to be way better than that. I just, well, I could definitely see Latu here. And if you're gonna go edge, it's probably between those two guys. But who you like? Who you think here? You like Latu more than Verse? Excuse me, guys.
I'm good with either one, really. I mean, it's a hard pick. That's what I said from the beginning. This is a really hard pick. Because my opinion is they don't stick with one, so
Right.
maybe they don't even have 9 by the time it gets here.
Right. That's a talk for another day. We can go Latu here. Liatui Latu.
Eliatui? Is
Number
that how
10.
it's pronounced?
Oh, that's something like that. Ratatouille, Latu. Same difference.
Ratatouille?
All right, number 10. It don't matter. Cavs and 4, baby. Anyways,
Facts. New
number
York
10.
Jets. With a finally returning Aaron Rodgers, hopefully longer than one snap.
Yeah. Where do they go here? Do you bulk up more on the O line? I feel like they've drafted a lot of O line in the recent years. I think their O line is good though. I will say that. I don't think they're in desperate need for anybody else. Um, Aaron Rodgers' injury last year was just a very unfortunate series of events. Had nothing to do with the offensive line. Um, I don't know, man. I can see. Ooh, if you want me to be honest, the biggest guy sticking out to me here. is two guys actually. Mark Bowers or Romo Dunes.
I was 100% about to say O'Doons on the offensive side, but I could see them going best available and filling the hole at tackle with Latham, J.C. Latham out of Alabama still being there. I feel like if you go best available on the board, that's who they go. But again, you could go need because you could blame it on Zach Wilson. You can blame it on whatever quarterback you put back there that's not Aaron Rodgers. That offense was stale, regardless of Garrett Wilson being amazing.
But hear me out. I understand going O line here is probably the smart move. But having Aaron Rodgers a quarterback, a guy that sat in Green Bay for years and watched that team draft not a single receiver, what kind of impact does he have on this pick here? I mean, does Robert Saleh look at Rodgers and he's like, look, do you want me to get you another weapon? I mean, outside of Garrett Wilson at the wide receiver position, who else does he really have other than like his guy, obviously, Alan Lazard, and like, but like, does he even play for them next year? I mean, things are different in New York this year, and I think a weapon would benefit Aaron Rodgers in so many ways.
100%.
I just don't know who else that offense has to throw to outside of Garrett Wilson next year.
So do you like Brock Bowers more or Romo Dunes?
I low key really like Romo Dunes here.
Because
I think
Brock
Brock
Bowers
Bowers,
adds a slight blocking factor, but
right? I don't know. I think a Romo Dunes Aaron Rodgers connection could be deadly. We see what he did with Michael Penix last year in their championship run.
I'm with it. Romo Dunes.
Let's
I
do
like it. I'm high on him, so I'm going to stick by my word and take him at 10.
it. Say that. Brings us to
11 brings us up to the Minnesota Vikings, who is another team in desperate need of a franchise quarterback. Your
right.
all pro, once in a lifetime franchise wide receiver, Justin Jefferson, is in desperate need of a quarterback.
Right. But from everything that I've seen throughout this offseason, I think Kirk comes back. I don't think they give up on Kirk just yet. We've seen what he was doing last year, statistically wise, before the injury. I know the team wasn't good, but when you look at the way Kirk was playing, he was playing at an all pro level. Sorry, quick snack break here, y'all.
So where do they go? They go defensive side of the ball and trust Kirk to come back again?
I think they have a huge, glaring need at quarterback. I think there's a few good corners in this class that could really help these guys. I mean, when you look at that team, who do they have in the secondary outside of Harrison Smith? I mean, if you go watch, I know it's kind of random, but if you go watch Micah Parsons' clip with Jordan Love talking about the top defenses that he played against last year, Minnesota Vikings were the number 2 ranked defense. And he said it was because of the way that they mixed up their defense. He said that their coverages were never the same. He said the pass rush was insane. And if you put a good secondary and a good ball hawk behind that kind of a pass rush and smart defensive line with Mike Zimmer, I think it could be scary. They haven't had a good corner since what, Xavier Rhodes' prime? I mean,
yeah,
it's been a long time. I think there's 2 really big names here, maybe even 3 at the corner position that can be really good talents in the NFL. I really love Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama here, one of my very top cornerback prospects. I like Quentin Mitchell out of Toledo. He's another guy I'm pretty huge on. And I also love Cooper DeJean. I think Cooper DeJean is so slept on. Terrion Arnold's good. Obviously, the guy that played alongside Kool-Aid McKinstry last year, but I think Cooper DeJean is a very slept on guy out of Iowa. I think he was fantastic last year. But my best cornerback in this class is no doubt Kool-Aid McKinstry. I just can't put anybody above him. Who do you like? What are you thinking?
I mean, I like it. I could see maybe a Mitchell pick, but I mean, in all honesty, I like Kool-Aid. I mean, when it comes to personal likings, I like Kool-Aid more.
I like Quinion. I think Quinion's a really good quarterback or cornerback. He could very well be the first corner taken off the board, but I love Kool-Aid. I just think he's so talented.
So
Who,
Kool-Aid
who
to the
do?
Vikings?
I love it. All right. That brings us to number 12 in Broncos. I have a beautiful pick here. I think it fits. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a perfect fit. You want to know my opinion?
Where do they go?
The Broncos have a glaring need at QB. Russell Wilson is gone. There's two quarterbacks here that would fit this team beautifully. One that I think fits it perfectly. One I think it fits it very well. I think Jade Daniels is in conversation here. Obviously, he's still on the board. He was a Heisman winner. He's fell a little bit. But with a needed quarterback, I think they can very well look Jade Daniels' way. But if you want me to
But
be
if we
honest,
look to best fit,
I think
there's a
JJ
Michigan
McCarthy.
quarterback.
Yes. I have been saying this from the jump. I think JJ fits Denver better than any team in the NFL. I don't know what it is, but when I think about JJ McCarthy and the Denver Broncos, it's like peanut butter and jelly.
Magic every time.
Because we seen what Sean Payton and Drew Brees did together, and we've seen the hype around JJ. And obviously, he went and won a national championship. And with the right coaching behind him, dude, I think he could be a really good quarterback. I think there's no better fit here than JJ.
I think he's liked more in the league anyway than he is by the media. So I like that
Ooh,
100%.
perfect. We'd love to hear it.
He's like Tom Brady. They don't love the Michigan quarterbacks, but they got a point to prove.
Exactly. Now the Raiders are here.
The
Jimmy
Oakland
Garoppolo is
Raiders.
being, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo is being released. It's already been put out in the world. It's happening. He's no longer a Raider. Do you stick with Aiden
And
O'Connell
then
or do you?
suspended 2 games,
Yeah, for if
by the
he
way.
even signed with anybody. Yeah, I doubt he even plays football next year, if we're being honest. But Jaden Daniels, he's still there, bro.
You've got it. If
The
you're the
Raiders
Raiders,
need a
you have
QB.
to.
Yeah, Aiden O'Connell's not the answer. He was a bridge quarterback. He got you through the season. But if you want to keep Devontae Adams happy, you have to get a playmaker behind center. That
100%. I love that pick.
beautiful. That brings up my Saints. Now I know exactly where I want to go here. Don't even argue with me. This is my pick. This is my
I was
team.
about to say, I got a star beside it for a
He
reason, baby. Take lead.
is he's still on the board. We need a playmaker. I want Brock Flowers. This would make me so happy as a Saints fan. If we went out and drafted Brock Bowers, I would scream the top of my lungs. I I would love this.
Look, this is our mock, and we're going to have many of them. So do
Let me
what you
have my
please,
moment.
but let
Let
me
me
not
have
be
my
the dude
moment.
to remind you that a lot of your favorite picks are not where the Saints go, and they
Yeah,
go have surprising directions the last few seasons.
yeah, I get it. I understand. Okay, you ain't gotta continue to tell me.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to bring it up so the fans also were reminded how
But
twisted of a franchise.
yeah, can't stand it one sometimes. Who that, baby? All right. Let me have my fun with that one though. Brock Powers in a Saints jersey would make me a happy man.
All
15.
right,
Colts are here.
all the local fans, this is the Indianapolis Colts.
Absolutely. There's still some big names on the board. We get the return of Rich next year, man. And Rich will be back. Quarterback
Yes,
is not a
finally.
need. Um, we see Michael Pittman have a fantastic year last year. Josh
Josh
Downs still
Downs
on.
stepped up. Wide
Yeah,
receiver doesn't seem to be an immediate need.
facts. Jonathan Taylor done his thing last year. He'll be back. I think it's time to work on one of two things: the offensive line, which is aging out a little bit. Still a really good O line, but a lot of guys are getting old on that front five. And defense, man. We've seen that defense be
I
good, but
I am 100% with the aging O line, and something's going to need to be done about that. But they have to go best available. If Quinion Mitchell is still here,
yeah,
their
I agree.
cornerback is the worst position on the roster by
100%.
almost a long shot. O line is
100%.
a big concern because, like you said, they're all aging and some are regressing. It seemed. I mean, you may have had Gardner Minshew, but I mean, they were a step slow, regardless of motivation or whatever you want to call it, momentum, whatever. But I think when it comes to top need, it's got to be quarterback or cornerback.
100%. And with possibly the number one guy still here, you have to. Number 16, Seattle Seahawks. This is a
To
weird team.
finish out our mock.
This is a team you never really know where to go with the Seahawks. I mean, they're a team that doesn't have crazy needs. I think that they're bringing back Gino. I think wide receiver's fine. I think running back's fine. Obviously, just drafted Charbonnet to back up KW last year. Uh, Offensive line is okay. They just got to Charles Cross last year. Uh, but defense, man, I don't know. This is such a hard team to kind of break down. I don't.
Yeah.
I could see an edge rusher pick here, but I can also see, you know, I don't know what, like maybe a corner here. Like
I
this
was
is
going to
a
say, I could
corner
see a
available.
Byron Murphy for their line. I could see maybe them going an Arnold out about Alabama or the corner you mentioned earlier that I'm brain farting now.
Cooper DeJean, or are you talking about Terry Arnold?
DeJean. I said Arnold, but
DeJean?
then I said that they could also go to Jean.
I love DeJean, dude.
I don't know. I don't think they go O-line again. I just feel like they've got enough. They think they have enough at least to where they finally go defense on this side. They still remember the beautiful days of Legion of Boom.
Max. I like either a Cooper DeJean pick here or like a Byron Murphy I wouldn't hate. I think either one of those they could use. I don't know. I just love my man DeJean out of Iowa. A lot of
So,
fan
do you see
favoritism with
DeJean
him.
going at 16 to the Seahawks, or do you see him beefing up that D line? Trying to stop the run.
Oh man. That D line is very, very questionable.
Very spotty, yeah.
They did just take Devin Witherspoon last year. It might be a little weird to go out and take Cooper DeJean. Obviously, you still have Tariq Woolen. If we're going top need for them, they would probably go D line over corner. If we're being honest, I would probably go Byron Murphy here. I love Cooper. And everything in me wants to take him here, but it's just not a glaring need for them. They have two
And
really
he'll
good
probably be
bounty
within the
hunters.
next 5-10 picks, but unfortunately, our number one mock, we're doing the first 16.
Absolutely. So that wraps up the first half of round one for our first official, way too early 2024 NFL mock draft.
Absolutely.
Now, when more of these come flying out in good order, the website will be the place to find them. We're gonna have a lot of articles and everything posted on the website to do with these mock drafts and everything to come with the off season. So for any of our big off season NFL fans out there, stay tuned to the website, and everything you can go find on our page link. I think it has.
Absolutely.
Has it officially been added to the link tree yet, or are we still waiting to do that?
Oh, I didn't add it to the link tree. No, I have forgotten to do that, but it is pinned on our page and posted everywhere. freelancesportscasting.com/podcast. But as you said, once we get together and we have our more immersive shows, we'll have our full 32 pick PPR mock drafts shared out on the website and all for everybody to see.
Absolutely. Stay tuned for that. Now, we're going to get into a little bit of NBA real quick before we wrap things up here for tonight. First off, like I mentioned earlier, there will be no deal or no deal this week due to NBA All-Star Weekend. Basketball teams are on a week break. They won't be back until next Thursday. So next week will be the return of Deal or No Deal.
Yes.
But in the meantime, we can give you guys the quick results of last week's competition. And we're going to break down a little bit of All-Star Weekend, which is actually in our home state this year. And we're going to do a little bit of
Indiana, rise up.
Yeah. And we're going to do a little bit of Pacers and Lakers mid-season talk to kind of give our predictions for the second half of the season for our favorite team. So real quick, deal or no deal last week. Don ended with Trae Young. And your boy played a perfect deal or no deal game and ended with Luka Doncic.
A perfect deal or no deal game.
Absolutely.
By the way.
That was flawless. And I do want to mention, you could have had Shane Gilgis, but we'll get in that conversation another time.
I don't even want that conversation before I swing through this phone.
I do want to shout out real quick. Both of our winning players this week played all 3 games. Quick shout out to these boys for not.
That's a challenge in itself.
Yeah,
so round of applause.
Yeah. Trey Young, we'll kick it off with you. Played all 3 games. Had scores of 38, 39, and 28. Not his best week, but not his worst. For a total of 105, which is very reasonable. Yes. Now, your boy, Luka Doncic, played all 3 games.
He's him.
Came out with final scores of 57, 57, and 68. For a total of 182 points for all 3 games. So a pretty lopsided fat boy this week.
Gosh.
Well, what we expected, I mean, it was Luka versus Trey.
Yeah.
What else?
Luka is in his bag. I posted on our Twitter the other day on a reply of an NBA post that with Embiid out this season, Luka's finally going for his MVP. I don't care. Yeah, this is his season.
Yeah, this
Jokic voting is stale. They don't want to do it again. Embiid's out. Luka's doing it. Put my word out now. Luka MVP. Bookmark it, yep.
Put money on it.
About to go be one of those guys who get it tattooed. Screw a championship tattoo. I'm getting Luka Doncic holding an MVP down my backside.
Go put 100 on it if you're confident. See what happens.
All right, hold on real quick.
All right, it's All-Star Weekend, man. It's in Indy, hometown team. It's in our home state. We can break down real quick. We won't do an in-depth talk. Not a whole lot to talk about with All-Star Weekend. But if you want to go through and give our predictions for the festivities this weekend, we can definitely do that.
I'm 100% down with that. We got the Curry versus Sabrina Ionesco 3-point contest. The skills challenge from the teams, as always. The regular 3-point challenge, the dunk contest, which seems slightly more entertaining than last year's horrendous event.
Yeah, it'll be decent. And then what else?
Obi Toppin's brother for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't understand.
I don't understand. I want to give a big salute and shout out real quick to Jaylen Brown for finally being somebody of relevance to actually join the dunk contest and not be worried about whatever everybody else is worried about, because nobody of relevance wants to do this thing. They're getting 9th men off of the bench, and Mac McClung, who's not even in the league, or the G League, hanging on strings at this point.
Hey, don't do that. Don't do that. Mac McClung is the best dunker in the NBA, whether he's in the G League or not. I don't care what nobody says.
No, that's fact. He's walking away with another one.
That man can fly. All right. So we'll kick it off with, I guess we'll go in order here. What goes first? I don't think there's much to talk about the Rising Stars Challenge. That's kind of just can't really predict.
I think those are actually underway, possibly as we're talking, or tonight after we talk. It's soon.
Probably. So that moves us in. I guess we'll start with the Skills Challenge. I think that's the next up on the slate. I don't know if you paid much attention to this year's teams. I didn't pay a whole lot.
I know one of them.
I do know who I'm taking, though.
I know who I'm taking.
Who are you taking?
Taking Team Pacers.
Yeah.
Taking Team Pacers.
I'm not even gonna argue you much on that, because I low-key might take. Is Tyrese on the team for the Pacers?
Yes, Tyrese, and I don't remember the other two. I'm blanking. I just had them all in my head, but of course, as I go to say their actual names.
What was I'm trying to okay, it was Benedict Mather and Miles Turner, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, man. I'm either going Team Pacers or Team Top Picks. I think Wemby could low-key dominate a Skills Challenge. Like, if I'm gonna be honest with you. The Team Top Picks is Paolo, Edwards, and Wemby. That's a nice little squad. If I'm gonna be real with you, I would either go Pacers or probably team top eights. That
I
team looks
like
kind
that
of
too. Yeah,
disgusting. Wimby, we know what Wimby does. I mean, he's gonna
exactly.
make it on himself.
He's already a generational talent in himself.
Max. All right. What's next? Let's go Sabrina and Curry. Let's get that one out of the way. Well, I know who I'm taking. The guy who just hit 105 threes in a row in Warriors practice. I'm going Steph Curry. Uh,
Yeah, he's him.
yeah.
I think somebody posted about Sabrina the other day. It may have been somebody else, but no, it was Caitlin Clark. But I said we just needed to league her at this point. But I mean, I think
Caitlin
it'll be
Clark's a
close.
dog.
I think Curry may hit his cold streak with Sabrina having a point to prove, but it's Curry. I can never bet
Yeah.
against him.
Yeah, that's facts.
Not with
Yeah.
3 point being in the name.
He's not gonna lose to Sabrina. Come on, man. It's Wardell. All right, that brings us to what's left. 3 point and dunk. Is that it? So just those two? 3 point dunk
Oh,
and
we
All Star game.
celebrity game technically.
Oh, I know who my MVP is. I don't know. I don't care who wins it, but CJ Stroud is winning Celebrity All Star MVP.
Jack Harlow, Kai
My
Cenat.
dog, bro. No. CJ Stroud can hoop. Have you seen his high school clips?
No, I don't think
CJ
so.
Stroud,
I may
bro,
have one of them.
I think it was like he talked about it on Micah Parsons' podcast. It was a game against Javi Jaquez's high school. And he dropped like 46 points on him or something like that. I had the full
My
video clip and
gosh.
everything. CJ could hoop, dude. I'm telling you. I think CJ comes out here and scores 30 in a celebrity game. I'm gonna be real. That
You
boy can
think
play
he's
ball.
him in both the NFL and NBA?
Yes. Bro, he put up 46 on Javi Jaquez's high school. Come on,
And then
man.
watch,
Yeah.
the next conversation is going to be could CJ Stroud play
Be
in
a
the
hooper.
NBA?
Yes, he
Yeah.
could. Yes, he could.
Hey, all I'm saying is remember when Kyler Murray was drafted to the MLB?
See? All I'm saying. We know Caitlin Clark can be the best player on the Detroit Pistons. Why can't CJ Stroud? Come on, man.
Exactly.
All right. Then we have Duncan 3 point. I think is the only two left. Listen, I got two sleeper picks for I got my main pick and I got a sleeper pick for the 3 point contest. If we're gonna be real.
I got a sleeper pick.
Okay, who's your sleeper pick?
My sleeper pick is Jalen Brunson.
Yes, I'm so glad you said
I'm
that, man.
finally, I'm on your
Yes.
tide.
All right. See, bro, he
I've
can
had,
hoop,
like I
dude.
said, my hate against New York and just Jalen Brunson for whatever reason. Obviously, after dropping 40 on our
Bro,
heads, it was a
he
little
can play
personal.
ball,
But I
dude.
think he's a sleeper for this 3 point contest.
100%. That was my sleeper pick. No questions asked.
Because, I
100%.
mean, locally, obviously, I want to go Tyrese
Now,
and maybe Dame, just from the namesake. But they all have the form that could be inconsistent. I think the most consistent
100%.
form when he's relaxed out there could be Jalen Brunson.
Or, or the guy that I think could be in the top three, top five for the MVP race right now, a team that's sitting at the top of the East standings. I think Donovan Mitchell has a very good chance. And I think outside of Brunson, he's my pick for this year, bro. I think that he's been hooping lately. And his stroke is just, he has such a beautiful shot, bro. And he just,
Effortless.
yeah. And we know what D Mitch can do. I think if, with having, the Cavs up at the top of the East right now,
Hey, he's only a state away from his team at All Star Weekend.
Exactly. It's almost his
Cleveland's
hometown too.
only an hour and a half away.
Exactly. All I'm saying. So I got D Mitch as my main pick. Brunson's my sleeper pick.
I don't hate that.
All right, dunk contest. You don't even have to ask me. I think he repeats. I don't think there's a better person in the dunk contest than Magma Lung. I just said it. That boy
Yeah.
is nice, bro. He can fly.
He's been posting highlight and dunk clips since we were 15, 16. He does this.
Bro. We were watching him 360 dunk on kids in high school games. Like, come
Exactly.
on, bro. Magma Clone can fly, dude.
Just the creativity we know he can come out with and do effortlessly that he's done since he was 15. I mean, we could be seeing it for the third or fourth time with all the clips we've seen, but I mean, people in the NBA are going to drop to their knees.
Exactly. And he won it last year for what he did. he comes out and does anything better than he did last year, it's gonna be hard to top.
Exactly.
All right, that wraps up some All Star game predictions. Real quick before we wrap things up, we're already on the topic for the Pacers. What are you expecting in the second half of the season?
I don't know, man. We've been really stale. We made moves that I don't think were needed necessarily that really shook up the chemistry. I mean, it was a bonus in a way, obviously, Buddy Hill's contract, and he was really sinking with us. He lost all his happiness, whatever. Even with Pascal coming in, he sank a lot worse than he
I will
was, and then
say
goes to
he's
Philadelphia
been
and he's averaging
hooping.
25 points.
Yeah, and like 7 assists. He's been hooping in Philly.
Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, it's been a shift. Tyrese was injured. We've relied a lot on our bench. They've been tired. So I mean, it's our depth was our number one key, and now we wore them out a lot. But I think we'll get back on pace. I think we could retain the 5-6 seed. I mean, obviously Joel Embiid's out, Julius Randle's out in New York, and they're still slightly above us. So I mean, everything in the East can change within weeks.
The Bucks are struggling bad.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. There's a lot that could change by the week in the East. They're all within two
yeah.
games.
Outside of the Cavs and Celtics, that's such an open conference. I think those two teams are doing their thing right now, but yeah,
And
outside
I
of those
said
two,
this before the season that I said I may have said I don't know the Bucks because they got Dame, but I said the Celtics and whoever. I mean, you put the top three teams. Maybe I said the Sixers, but after that, it's wide open. And I said the
yeah,
Pacers could possibly get a 4 seed if things went right, but obviously there's been some bumps along the road, and I could still see us squeezing into the 5-6 seed, and I don't know. The
yeah,
playoffs are a different week.
yeah, we seen the Hawks go in their Cinderella run a few years ago. I mean, we seen the Heat come out of the play-in tournament and make it to the championship. Things are wide open over there, man. They still have
Exactly.
a shot for sure.
They're
But
electric when they're healthy and playing right.
I just need to see Tyree stay healthy, and I want to see more from Reese and Pascal as a top duo. I want to see them really be a duo and take over for that team.
Yes, I think Reese has only had 20 now once, obviously, since being back from injury within like 8 or so games. I don't know the exact number, but so obviously, even we don't know how healthy he is if he's back to full health, but he's looking better each game. So it's something that's really a wait and see right now.
Hopefully, this little week off break for him and having fun this weekend will give him a little refresh.
In town, exactly.
Come out strong. Yeah, don't gotta travel. Chill, hang out at home. Yeah, should be good for him. I expect a good second half of the season for Indiana.
Now for LA,
yeah,
just put a statue up for the Mamba. Big shout outs.
Rest in peace, ago.
But now your guys' season, after making no moves at the deadline, seems in question. You still have arguably one of the best players in the league, if not the best, at 38, 39 years old. But again, with your current record, things are in question. But you're on a winning streak.
Let's talk for a second. We are 6-1 in our last 7 games.
Exactly.
I think 1 or 2 of those were without LeBron. The team is looking good. I think I do want to mention. I believe the Spencer Dinwiddie pickup seems small. I think it's huge for that team.
No, me and you talked about that could be very huge. That takes minutes off AD and LeBron. That takes pressure off D'Lo. That takes pressure at Austin Reeves having to play the one. I mean, that's a lot.
Christie doesn't have to play 30 minutes a game.
He's a veteran playmaker, defender. Yeah. I mean, he's a big piece.
He's a guy that played ball with D'Angelo Russell in Brooklyn. They know how to play together. I mean, he's just a veteran type of guy that knows what to do and when to do it. And he can shoot. He can play defense. He can combo guard. He can guard the 1-2-3. I mean, we seen Darvin Ham talk about having a closing lineup with Reeves, D'Lo, and Dinwiddie in the backcourt with Ron and AD in the front court, and I just love the sound of that.
Yeah.
Dinwiddie hasn't came in and done anything special, but he's doing what we've asked for him to do, and he's helping us win games, and that's all we can ask for him. I mean, he's only played 2 games with us. Obviously, it takes a little bit of time to get in a rhythm, but if D'Lo can play how he's playing, and Reeves can continue to be a hot hand, and we can afford to rest LeBron and AD here and there and keep these guys pumped up for the rest of the season. And I think we could have a very great push to at least a play-in spot. Like, I don't see us not making it at all. I don't think we fall below the 10 seed. If we do, it'd be very tragic. But I think at worst we make a play-in spot, and I think we can make a push to the playoffs, dude. I expect good second half of the season.
Hey, people forget the Lakers were in the Western Conference Finals.
Finals, and we were a 7 seed last year. So don't count us out. That's all I'm saying.
With possibly on paper a worse lineup. It may have been a
100%.
deeper. It may have looked deeper.
No, this is the deepest, best line, our best roster we've had since LeBron's been a Laker. I mean, we didn't have what I mean, these guys like I know that they don't sound like big names, but these guys like Cam Reddish and Max Christie playing bigger minutes now.
Rui.
Yeah, Rui, who had career night the other night with almost 40 points. I mean, we've seen him take off to another level. It's just these guys that
I've had Reeves as my sixth man pick since the beginning of the season. My parlay is busted because I had Embiid, but I've had Reeves as a sixth man for a reason. He's been on fire.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, man, but I think these trade rumors changed things for D'Lo, and I think it brought out a whole other demon in him.
Because he didn't want to move again. After the Nets, something switched in him, bro. He went out and was averaging 20 plus points, almost 10 assists. Like he was being him in Brooklyn and still got shipped.
Yeah. And now we have that backcourt from last year in Dinwiddie and Russell. And I just think we're so much better than we were last year. I think we have so much more talent. I think these guys are so much more confident. I mean, we see LeBron can still play at an all-star, elite, top player in the league level. I mean, how much longer of that does he have? I think if we want to win another ring, as crazy as this first half of the season has been, I think this is the year to do it. Like, if we can make another push like we did last year, get out of the play-in and get to the Western Conference Finals, it'll be a different story. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the drama that may ensue this offseason could be a lot. And with age, obviously, always in question for someone like LeBron. He's always beat that factor. But there's going to be a lot for the Lakers that could be discussed this offseason. So, like you said, this is a premier season. It's going to take a lot, but they've done it before. They made it to the Western Conference Finals as a 7 seed. They won the bubble chip with a bunch of nobody dudes wearing championship hats. I mean, you could make a joke about it being the NBA 2K fill-in players.
So, I mean, you can't ever count out LeBron if he makes the playoffs.
He's like Tom Brady.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Tom Brady in the aesthetic, maybe not aesthetic, but in the sense that Tom Brady, I mean, he always won. When he was in the playoffs, he won, and he didn't miss the playoffs. LeBron, he's had them bumps along the road, and it's a team game, I think. I wouldn't say more, but it's a big team game in the NBA, and a lot can happen. So, you can never count out LeBron.
Exactly. And with him being able to
he's been in the finals, 10 times?
The record's not the greatest, but
8 straight? Yeah, we don't have to mention the record because that's always a topic of discussion. We're going to talk GO or whatever, but we're not. We're talking about LeBron himself, and finals appearances themselves are hard to get to.
Exactly. He's done that in his career.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting a lot, man. I want to see us make a playoff push. So let's go LA, man. Hope for the best.
We could see our teams meet up here soon.
Hey, we seen it in the in-season tournament, baby. We saw that.
Exactly. We got our taste of it. Now we're addicted.
That would be the greatest series of all time.
I swear to God, bro.
Yeah, that would be.
We'd have courtside seats.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. We'd have every parlay possible.
An NBA Finals game at Gainbridge Fieldhouse? I mean, come on, bro. That'd be crazy.
We'd be going live. Hey, guys, you probably can't hear us because it's packed and screaming, but there's 2 seconds left. LeBron's about to inbound the ball.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. Oh, man, but with that recap coming to a close, that about brings us to the end of our slate for tonight.
Yes.
So, I don't know about you, but coming off strep throat, my throat is killing me after all this talking.
Yeah, I'm definitely a hungry body, but a later show, weather emergency here locally, but we got back on track. We got our giveaway out of the way. Great night.
Again, shout out to Jeff Greenlee for the winner of the giveaway. If you were watching now, or if you're watching at all, we will be in touch with you right after the closing of this live here. So be on the watch out for that.
Absolutely. Mock draft 1 out of the way, so we'll probably make some graphic or do something to get that posted. The other ones we will be more in depth with, have link, etc. We got everything knocked out this week that we could possibly knock out with a late, unplanned weather, etc. show.
So things will be back to somewhat normal next week. You'll see our beautiful faces back together in our little studio setup. And late we'll be back to as normal as it's going to get for the next few months. So we hope you guys enjoyed tonight's show. We're so glad we could do the giveaway for you guys. Please stay tuned for plenty more of those coming. That won't be the only one.
Absolutely. Again, congratulations to Jeff Greenlee. 2 Pacers versus Pistons tickets, February 22nd, Thursday at 7 p.m.
Yes. I do want to mention also, if you're tuning in late, or if you did tune in late, missed any part of the show, or missed the reveal of the giveaway, this video will be posted on our new website probably by the end of tonight or tomorrow morning. So if you guys want to go back and watch that, feel free to. All previous episodes have been posted on there as well. So if there's anything you guys missed or want to go back and watch, it'll all be on our website. We'll have that in our link tree soon enough on Facebook. For at the moment, it is pinned on our page, so very easily to find. Please go give that a check out.
Yes, if you're seeing this now or happen to see or hear this clip, we have Spotify where we have all our previous shows, freelancesportscasting.com/podcast, where we are the center of the page, easy to find. Our ticket giveaway is now closed, obviously, for the Pacers tickets, but we will do more. That was not the only one. We're on YouTube, where you'll be able to see our actual faces, not just hear us. We're on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X. Absolutely.
No excuses. Please go give us a like and follow on all platforms that you own yourself. It'd be very well appreciated.
Exactly. All you got to do is search Travis and John or Travis and John Show on Safari, and you'll find us.
Absolutely. We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode of the Travis and John Show. We'll be back next Friday at 6 p.m., barring any crazy weather conditions.
Yes. No more random 8 inches of ice and snow and road closures and people sliding off literally every direction to this place besides one.
Yeah. Crazy night here in Indiana. But that'll do it for us here. Please stay tuned for all our socials. A link tree in the bio. Go check out everything possible. We appreciate all the support. We'll see you guys next week. And as always, it's been the Travis and John Show.
Live on Facebook Live. We'll see you.